Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anthony Cliff, and on this channel, and particularly this research playlist, we're talking all things research in higher education. Everything from SPSS to NVivo, to today's topic, a little bit of a taboo topic, the 5 red flags you should look out for bad supervisors / bad supervision. So, let's get into it. So why do I need to even create a video about bad supervisors? Well, it's something that acts as, hey, it's a taboo subject. I've seen it with my own eyes, really bad supervision. I've seen students talk about it. I get at least 4 or 5 emails from you guys, my viewers, every month when you're talking about SPSS and NVivo, saying that you found my videos because your supervisors just didn't really care and they weren't really helpful. Fortunately, not much ever really gets done because people don't often talk about bad. So today is just a little bit of a heads up about if you notice these 5 things which I've found over the years which are quite common of the bad supervisory traits, that 1, that you're aware of that's not how supervision should be done, and 2, if you can, try and change it before you get too far into your academic journey. So then, here's the 5 things that you should look out for. Number 1 is what I like to call the magician. So this is the supervisor or supervisory team who disappear. They're off, they don't really have time for you, they cancel meetings at short notice, or they might leave meetings early because they've got something else on. Major red flag. I get it, yes, as academics we are incredibly busy. We're not just supervising you, we're supervising other students. We have teaching, we have marking, and often we have multiple roles as well. I know more than most about the shortness of time in academia. I was on a short-term, part-time contract in my previous role. I was paid for 3 days a week, but often I was working 6 to 7 just to keep up. And not only was I a senior lecturer, I also had the role of chair of ethics, and I also was the department's assessment officer as well. So my time was incredibly compressed, but I always made time for my students. And when I think back to my PhD supervisor, or one of them, Professor Tim, he was off in the Andes one week, the next week he was in Antarctica, but whenever he had access to the internet, he would always give fantastic detailed feedback on my drafts. He would always reply to emails whenever he was. So if he can do that from the middle of the Andes, then certainly your supervisors can do that from the comfort of their own office or our own home now. So definitely be aware of that. The second red flag is what I like to call the dictator. Now, this is a really bad supervisor who do as I say, and you can't really refute them. This is really bad. They might think naively that they're doing you a favour. They're telling you what to do and how to do it, but in academia, that's not really how you're going to learn, and particularly now, I never see students who I supervise as students. They're now researchers. You're now doing a research project. Whether you're an undergrad or you're a PhD researcher now, it doesn't matter. You're doing research. So it's you, it's your project. It's not my project. I'm here to help support you, but it is your project. So there's no real educational and pedagogical value in me telling you what to do and how to do it. Supervisory team that just say you need to do this, this and this, and this is how you do it, isn't really the best way to learn. So you want to look out for that. Number 3 is, unfortunately, the glory hunter. Now this is the supervisor who really does not care one bit about you as a student. They only care about your research output, and most importantly, they're pushing to have their name on your paper, and particularly quite high up, if not the first author, even though they haven't done enough work to really classify themselves as a first author. Now these glory hunters, unfortunately, really do exist quite a lot in academia, and one reason why, and I might do a video on this, if you have a PhD, you possibly might not want to go into academia because it is a relatively toxic environment in certain areas. So what the glory hunters do is, you do all the work, they want you to gain experience by doing their research for them, doing data collection under the guise of you'll be gaining some skills. Not how it should work. Students should be paid for their time, and it's something that Thankfully, I've been under other academics who, when I was a student, they've paid me for my time. And any projects I've been on, working with students as partners particularly, we've always tried to fund students because it is important. It's your time and it is your expertise. So yes, you are developing those skills, but really the benefit of the skills isn't as enough as them getting a paper out of it and you not even being on it. So it's no secret that to become a professor, for example, you need to have plenty of papers, you need to have plenty of research articles, you need to have plenty of PhD students through. But yes, it can be a slow process doing it the right way, but that's how it should be done. The glory hunter just wants to step on the ladder, doesn't really care, they're only interested in your output. Get the hell out of there. Number 4 on this list, which I think is arguably the worst type of academic and person you can possibly come across as a supervisory team, is what I call the captor. So what do I mean by that then? So just like somebody who captures somebody, they don't want anybody to know. So these supervisors don't want you to talk to anybody outside of their supervisory team. It's a no-go. What they say is the law. You're not allowed to talk to anybody else, and if you do, they get really controlling. Now, I don't know why they do this. I don't know if it's a case of their insecurities that they might not know and they think that students expect you to know everything. In my experience, that's not the case at all. I've always been incredibly open to my students of what my skill sets are and where my limitations are. We all have flaws. We don't expect everybody to know everything. I've never actually had a supervisory team who have been experts in my particular dissertation title, just as I've never actually supervised a student where 100% that's been my research area. That's absolutely fine. We have different skill sets which will help you through your journey. That's absolutely fine if you can seek out an expert or other people to have that discussion. Just as I mentioned before, I really do encourage my students to have that discussion with other people and themselves and other students as well. What's the best course of action to take? So it's really important that you do that because you're developing your knowledge. Just like a toddler when they're going around touching things and exploring things, that's what you're doing in research. You're trying to get the best amount of knowledge. And by being open with your students as well, I find that you guys really respond to that. It's that we're human and so are you as well, that you're developing and so are we on this research journey. Those academics who have this real sense of grandeur and time that they're the best and they know everything, actually are the worst. Those people who don't hold their hands up and say, I don't really know, then they're the ones who actually know very, very little. And if that is your supervisory team, you really, really do want to get out of that because they are terrible, terrible people. And lastly, number 5 on this list is what I like to call the hardliner. The academic and the supervisory team, you only ever discuss your research project and nothing ever else about what's going on in your life or your other subjects. So why is this a red flag when seemingly that seems quite a good thing to do to keep on task and on focus? Well, as a supervisor, we should really be aware of the things that are going on in your lives. What pressures are you facing? Do you have some work commitments? Have you got some family commitments, some family issues you need to work around? How can I help you as a supervisor to develop those skills in a time frame that's really going to help the project and help you? Somebody who doesn't try to get to know their students isn't particularly a good supervisor, because we're not just here to help develop your research, but also we want to develop you as a person, because we want you to hopefully finish your dissertation or your thesis, whatever it might be, and then graduate and then go out into the workplace. And we want you to be able to feel confident in yourself to develop those skills and to make sure as well that we treat you as humans. Like I say, you know, not everybody knows everything. If you're an undergrad student, it's incredibly daunting. This is probably the first time you've ever written something as big as a thesis and you've gone out and done your own research. If you're a master's student, again, you've really stepped up another level. And if you're a PhD researcher, then this might, you know, you're trying to become a doctor. This is massive. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. So we want to develop you as well. We need to take an interest in you outside of just you as a student or as a researcher. So those ones who don't really take an interest, they're not really doing their job as supervisors. And like I say before, you know, they're the kind of ones who they don't really care. They're not putting in that extra effort and that extra time. I absolutely love getting to know my students, and in fact, you know, particularly I think of Karen and Lucy. They were my first ever supervisor students that I had about probably about 6 years ago now, actually. And we still keep in contact, and they're brilliant. They've done fantastic well. They did great degrees, and they've gone off, and one's traveling the world, the other one's got a brilliant job. You know, it's nice to keep in touch, and that we've had a hand in that process as supervisors. So those who don't really take an interest, yeah, you want to get out there. So they're the 5 red flags that I recommend that you look out for. There are obviously plenty of others out there, but they're the 5 main ones I've come across. Now, don't despair. I'm going to do a video on the 5 good supervisor teams and traits that you should look out for your supervisor. And if your supervisor displays any of the 5 good traits, please do let them know. Like, if you are somebody who's struggling and has those worst type of supervisors, and please do comment below if you've got any other traits that you think others should know about, which is quite a toxic environment for supervisors and supervisory teams. Please do drop that in the comments, and we might do another video as well as a follow-up. You can make changes if you have a really bad supervisory team. I hope this video has actually been useless for you. The fact that you never come across these 5 traits, I really do hope that you do. If unfortunately you do experience some of these, then again, please do drop me a line. I'm happy to talk to you about it by email. And again, like I say, reach out and make sure that you've got a support network there and that you're not alone. Okay, so thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe as usual if you've liked this video. Please do check out the rest of the research playlist. And like I say, please do subscribe. It really does help the channel. Okay, so thank you and good luck. And then look out for the next video, which is all about 5 good supervisors.